Why do men murder more than women? By Juliette Siffer. Just to start off with a slight trigger warning, as this is about murder. If I asked you to name a female serial killer, I don't think you could. Just as an overview, we'll be discussing traits, emotions and statistics, morals, why men kill more than women, and how we can lower homicide rates. Let's start with traits typically associated with masculinity and femininity. The results from a quiz I held said that masculinity is associated with arrogance, anger and pride, where femininity was associated with being dainty, calm and submissive. We see masculinity attributed with more negative traits. If we compare these traits to traits common with serial killers, we see that men have a lot more similarities. If we look at emotions, we can see how they affect violence and murder. It's been proven by countless psychiatrists that rage is one of the leading causes of homicide. According to Dr. Douglas Fields, we can refer to a mortis to what can cause rage and murder. Life, if we feel our life is threatened or at stake. Insult, if we feel threatened by what is said or suggested. Family, if we feel as though someone or something is trying to harm the family. Environment, if your environment is in danger. Mate, if someone is doing something you don't agree with your mate. Organization, if someone is blatant rule breaking, it can cause a vigilante persona. Resources, lack of resources can cause desperate actions. Tribe, going back to family, but now broader with friends included. Stopped, if we feel oppressed or suppressed, it lead to acting out. According to Dr. Peter Morrell, there are 4 overall motivations and reasons for murder. Lust, a lover kills a rival. Love, mostly known as mercy killing. Loathing, lethal hate directed towards one person or culture or nation. Loot, killing for financial gain through inheritance or insurance payouts. Let's look at statistics. What are the numbers? Women made up 11.3% of homicides, men made up 77% of homicides, and 11.7% are unknown in 2020. 94% of the victims of murder-suicides are female. 72% of all murder-suicides involve an intimate partner. From these numbers, we see that men are killing more by 77% compared to women, and that women are victims in most murder-suicide. A really big and common question is, why don't morals stop us? Incidentally, our brains don't have a dedicated space for morals as mammals and descendants from a wild society. Morals vary from person to person and can fluctuate as time goes on and situations change. For example, a person killing a stranger on the street is horrible and they should be imprisoned, but a soldier killing another soldier in combat is accepted. So, why is it men murder more than women? To start, our brains are wired for survival, and because 10,000-40,000 years ago we lived in the wild and not as a community. Our brains were and are now territorial, whether it be a house or country. Territory can be and often is reason for murder in mammalian species, which explains the large amount of injuries and death by trespassing. Humans' brains are wired to react with rage, not ration, because the neural circuits responsible for rage respond faster than the cerebral cortex for ration for split-second decisions. However, men's brains take just slightly longer to reach the ration cortex, making men more impulsive in flight or flight decisions, which plays into the fact many cases of violence are the result of poor impulse control, which is why many attackers feel regret later. This only applies to manslaughter cases or accidental homicides, and not serial killers or people who plan their murders. How can we stop more homicides from happening? As a parent, watch out for an obsession with dead animals and dissecting. Don't repress your child's identity. If unhealthy behavior is persistent, see a specialist. As a sibling or friends, pay attention when they tell you things that might not be normal. Report all suspicions to parents. As a bystander, report all suspicions to police. Partner Homicide Timeline by Dr. Jane Monkton Smith. A pre-relationship history of stalking or abuse by the perpetrator. The romance developing quickly into a serious relationship. The relationship becoming dominated by coercive control. A trigger to threaten the perpetrator's control. X. The relationship ends. Escalation. An increase in the intensity or frequency of the partner's control tactics, such as by stalking or threatening suicide. The perpetrator has a change in thinking, choosing to move on, either through revenge or by homicide. Planning. The perpetrator might buy weapons or seek opportunities to get the victim alone. Homicide. The perpetrator kills his or her partner and possibly hurts others. The reason I'm including this is because it's important to know signs to avoid terrible possibilities. Thank you.